Here we go.
Okay, thanks very much, Tim. Violetta, would you like to say anything to kick off?
I'd just like to invite you. I'm so excited to bring to Connectathon the topic of agriculture. And I'm very hopeful that this is just the beginning of long-lasting discussions because it's so essential for the future of humanity and the way how we will coexist on this planet. So nothing more. Now I'm all ears and all ready to learn.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Violetta, and thanks everyone for being here for this session focusing on agriculture and focusing on the key question which is, are we growing food or commodities? So we'll dive into that a little bit with well, we've invited four key speakers, but also with your contributions as well, of course. The four people I've invited along, two are currently online. One is having a problem, and the other one I'm checking up on. So I might call on some more contributions from the audience as well. So who we do have online at the moment is Dr. Bui Chuc Ly from Can in Vietnam. Dr. Ly is a rural development specialist focusing on sustainable agriculture, agroecology, rice-based farming systems, and gender equality in the Mekong Delta. We have Dr. Rislan Kanya, who is from Abuja in Nigeria. Rislan is the CEO and founder of the Center for Climate Smart Farming at Cosmopolitan University. We have still to join us Dr. Ingrid Epezagne from Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire. And Ingrid is an agribusiness incubation expert and advocate for women's empowerment. And also due to join us is Malik Jahan Zeb from Multan in Pakistan. And Malik Jahan Zeb is a progressive farmer who grows amazing mangoes and has his own weekly show on agriculture on Radio Pakistan. So hopefully Jahan Zeb and Ingrid will be able to join us very soon. So the key question is, are we growing food or commodities? I think some of the core sort of underlying questions there are things like, is modern agriculture feeding humanity or is it feeding financial abstractions? What do we measure success in? And are we measuring it in tons or are we measuring it in resilience of the agricultural system? There's a whole lot of other details behind this that we'll get into. But I'd like to start off by inviting Dr. Ly. Dr. Ly, if you're on there, can you turn on your video, and Rislan as well? Can you turn on your videos?
Yes, hello Jeff. Can you hear me?
It can certainly.
Hello, Jeff. Can you hear me?
It's a bit quiet, but we can hear you. Or low volume, I mean.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dr. Ly, yes, we can hear you. Thanks. You can go ahead, please, and with an opening statement about are we growing food or commodities? We'll get into the more details later, but just an opening statement. What do you think?
First of all, I would like to thank Professor Jeff for inviting me to join this discussion. And hello, everyone. So my name is Bui Chuc Ly, and I come from the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. So for about the questions, are we growing food or commodity? As we can observe around the world, They increasing shift from food production toward commodity production. Agricultural production is being encouraged to move from small-scale farming to large-scale system, using standardized technical processes to produce uniform products for the markets, particularly for export. This change suggests that economic progress is often prioritized, sometimes at the expense of respecting the natural process that regulates the ecological system. As a result, the natural order may be disrupted. Biodiversity can be degraded and natural resources may be overexploited. I'm not sure how the situation in your country, but in my hometown, the Mekong Delta, one of the world leading rice exporting regions, this transformation is very evident. About 30 years ago, when I was a child, most of food production in the rural household was mainly intended for family consumption and for exchange among neighbors, with only a small portion were due for sale. At that time, almost every household had a rice field, a small garden for growing vegetables, livestock, such as pigs, chickens, and duck, and a small pond for raising fish. As a result, most of the food consumed by family was produced locally. However, the situation has changed significantly today. Almost around 50% of the food is now purchased from the outside the household. Many families focus on producing only one type of agricultural commodity for sale. For example, most of the household, they go only paddy. After selling paddy, they then buy rice and other food products for daily consumption. Small home garden and household scale livestock production has become increasingly rare. Instead, when farmers grow crops or raise animals, they often do so on large scale with the primary goal of selling to the markets. This represents a major transformation into the food production and consumption system. And that's the situation I will share with you in my hometown now.
Thanks so much, Lee. I was in your country just last year, and it's an incredible rate of change, and you've seen that over most of your lifetime. And agriculture is changing very quickly there. Thanks very much for your opening remarks. I'll pass now to Dr. Rislan. If we could have an opening remark from you, please.
Rislan, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Jeff. And thank you very much, Violetta and colleagues, for organizing this very important talk. I think from my own part, I think from the data available in Nigeria and other African countries, we need to do more. We need to have a very strong balance. I grew up as a child with my grandfather and grandmother in a very rural part of Nigeria. So I'm sharing my own personal connection. And I think that's what led me to do what I'm doing. Even though I have nothing to do with growing food, I'm a natural scientist. I'm a computer scientist. People ask me, why are you doing agri? Why not blockchain? Why not quantum computing? And I think I say it's not necessary for now for Nigeria because we have issue around nutrition and the wider discussion of food insecurity. And I say from my own personal story, my grandparents are very good farmers. They have a large-scale farms. They are well known in terms of what they're doing. And I remember seeing them employing hundreds of youth and villagers and people from the less disadvantaged background to work on farm to earn a living. I remember that, and I hardly see that now in the village when I go. I don't see youth in thousands or in hundreds going to the farm to work in the field. I still miss that. Then the other part of my discussion is the yield my grandparents used to have then from their farms through organic farming, regenerative agriculture is much bigger than what my brother, my immediate brother, who is now cultivating on the field, who he inherited from my father after my grandparents passed away. They passed on the land to my father, and my father passed on when he passed away. So the key question here is, yes, people are no longer going to the farm, and the food nutrition that we have in the village then is not as good as what we have now, which clearly means we're not growing more food. And the other question is the yield and productivity where my grandparents used to have on farm, even though we so classify them as illiterate because they didn't have the opportunity to go to modern school, and they get more, and they don't use synthetic fertilizer because it's something out of their reach. They don't use tractors. They use cows and normal traditional farming system. But my younger brother is a trained forestry expert. He went to the university and got trained on forestry. So to some extent, he's so qualified as agri expert, to my understanding. But he's not getting the yield. I had a discussion with him just a few weeks ago. He came all the way to Abuja to stay with me for like a few weeks. And he said, I don't really fancy agriculture now because I'm not getting what I should have gotten because the weather is not what we're supposed to have. Drought, in fact, in this year in my community, we experienced two calamities. We had a drought and we had a flooding. So, to my understanding, to the data I have seen, this is my personal thought. We're not growing good food and we're not growing good commodity. And this year in Nigeria, nationally, is the worst farming year for farmers. The cost of production go up, cost of fertilizer is much higher than the yield per acre. And from the data available all over the internet, trillions of naira have been wasted by the farmers, and farmers are not interested in going to farm. One of my research fellow is tracking newspaper publications. I think about 40 newspapers have made a similar claim to say that farmers are no longer interested in going into farm. And when we talk about a commodity, yes, we do a lot of commodity, but the value at which this commodity are being sold is not really much attractive. So I think there is a lot of more work that needs to be done to balance this. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in London, invited by Agra and FCDO, and the key discussion is around how do we begin to have resilience? How do we begin to even attract investment into this sector to have this balance? And someone asked this same question, talking about the commodity. Yes, we need to grow commodity to make good income. Yes, we need to do more in terms of food security because in Nigeria, to my knowledge, we have food insecurity, but we have food availability because food is being imported. And to some extent, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rislan. Really interesting opening remarks there. I didn't mention I haven't not met Dr. Ly, so I'm very thankful that you could join Dr. Ly and to also pass on thanks to Professor Dang Q Nan from Kanto University for recommending you for this. A nice story with Professor Rislan is that we actually met at an eco-civilization event in Cuba in January last year. And a very short conversation at the end of an event turned into further discussions, and now we're collaborating, bringing together some Australian and Nigerian expertise and some efforts to address improvements in farming in Nigeria. So it's been a nice little beginning from eco-civilization. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jeff.
The third, sorry, Rislan, go ahead.
I said, thank you, Jeff. It's always nice connecting with you. And I see a lot of possibility ahead for us to do more things together.
Absolutely. Thank you. The third speaker we have is Malik Jahan Zeb. Malik Jahan Zeb I have known for quite some time, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And Malik is a very progressive farmer in Multan in Pakistan. Is very active in promoting agriculture, and particularly very active in connecting with the Australian diplomats who are very interested in agriculture in Pakistan. He also has his own weekly show on agriculture, taking news of agriculture to the people of Pakistan. So, welcome, Jahan Zeb, and I invite you to make an opening statement about the key question: are we growing food or commodities?
Yes, thank you very much, Jeff. Thanks for these introductory words. And this is a privilege for me that I was your student in Australia, in University of Western Australia, during the course of irrigation and water resource management. Yes. Yes, I have just come back from my mango farm where the laborers are working, and I'm here for your meeting. I came back to Multan because I have computer linkage in city. In the rural area, there is no computer network, so I'm here to join you. Thanks for the honor. And now coming towards your question, that are we growing food or are we growing commodities? Actually, in true words, we are not growing foods. We are increasing commodities, no doubt about it, because we have to fill our empty belly through some material, and we don't care about it, that whether it is a healthy food or it is just a filling material. So we are increasing the filling material of our bellies, not a quality food for our bellies. This is ironic. Ironically, this is very bad, and we should think about it. Now, I give you some examples, if you allow me. Yes. First, I will give you the example of the broiler chicken. We prepare this broiler flock on an artificial feed, which is made of some steroids, some food materials, some food grains, and also there are some chemicals in it which artificially convert their feed to fat. The feed to fat conversion is gone so much high that this broiler is prepared within 32 days of its coming out of the eggshell. Within 32 days, it gets when it was born, it had the weight of only 32 grams, and in 32 days, it gets the weight of 2,250 grams. So, okay, we are complying with the needs of meat of the poor people through this broiler, but we ignore those factors which are carcinomic, which are very dangerous for human person to eat that broiler, and that enzyme which is present in the broiler's meat, that converts the food of a human being to the fat immediately. So if you go around 50 years back, there were no so obesity or no so fat persons like me. But in these 50 years, when the broiler consumption has gone high, the obesity and the overweightage of a human being has gone so much high. And obviously, there are so many diseases developed by these enzymes. In the same way, if we go for the food grains, 50 years back, it was the production of per acre of the wheat was not more than 400 kilograms or 500 kilograms per acre. But these days, this has gone up to 2,500 kilograms per acre because of these genetic engineering, artificial seeds, additional food supplements through nutrient spray and the fertilizer. So yes, okay, we have ample amount of food grains now, and we can serve our humanity, and we can fill their bellies, and we can meet with their starvation through this extensive quantity of food grains. But none of us has discussed about the quality of food which these food grains have. We have so much pollution of insecticides, bactericides, and fungicides in these seeds, in these crops. We have so many weedicides we use to eliminate the weeds from the fields. Uh, these chemicals also create some impact on our food grains. So my opinion is that although we are increasing the yields, we are increasing the commodities, we are introducing so much food grains, but we are not giving true importance to the food quality or the food grain quality which was available 50 or 75 years back. Thank you.
Hmm. Thanks very much. There's a fairly common message coming across about the focus. I guess we sort of understood the answer to the question before we asked it. The question is, what is the impact of this focus on commodities as opposed to nutritional value, which you've just taken us into, Malik, in terms of human health. I would also like to understand a little more about the impacts on communities, besides the health aspect, but also in terms of the way communities operate and feel and connect together. How has, maybe I'll start with Dr. Lee again, how has a shift towards export-oriented agriculture changed farming systems in countries like Vietnam or the Mekong Delta countries? And how has that shift also changed the fabric of society in agricultural landscapes?
Yes. In my observations, there is very clear evidence about this changing. For the landscape, like in the past, we have a very diversity crop, but now we can see the monocrop everywhere. Like the most crop in the Mekong Delta now is rice. So only rice is popular. And we lose other type of plants, like the wildlife plant, like the wildlife vegetable. So we lose a lot of the good quality plant in our community. And for the only in the culture, in the traditional ones. And so we like in the past we have some like the custom, but now we don't do. Like before, in the past, before the season, we do some culture about the pray for the high views, but now we don't do that. So we lose some culture also. So not only the trends of the agricultural production, not only for the foods, but also for the culture also. And the landscape also different from in the past. Like I described in the first time when I want to tell, when I show you that in the past we normally in the rural area, every family they have like a small garden behind their house. With like they have some space for growing vegetable for their consumption, and also they have a garden for growing vegetable, and they also grow some ducks, some pig, some chickens for consumption. But now it's very rare to see that. So now they just go like, if they go chicken, they go a lot of chicken for selling, not for just only consumption. And for the other, they don't grow anything. They just grow rice and finish. So the landscape is also very different from now from 30 years ago when I was a child. And many people that many rural people, they move from the city, move to the city for the industrial zone. So now in the rural area, we lack of labor also. So, and now the government, they try to train from using machine like the harvester, like the compound harvester, or like the drones to apply in the field, relate the labor we got right now. So, and the landscape is very like changing and different from the past. Yes.
Thanks very much, Dr. Lee. And you raised an important point there and I noticed this very much in my travels through Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, that the changes that are happening are resulting in people moving from rural areas into urban areas. So there's now not only challenges in terms of things like water availability, changing climate, um, export-oriented demand, but also labor issues now, and that is driving. You talk to a lot of young people, and they don't want to work in agriculture, basically.
Yeah.
Um, that is driving efforts to look at new approaches to agriculture, the introduction of new technologies, things that are labor-saving technologies, basically. I'd like to switch now to Rislan to talk a little bit about how can digital technologies, climate smart practices, data-driven agriculture help with production systems towards food security, while still maintaining profitability for farmers. And I would extend that to say, while still maintaining a fabric of society in agricultural areas. What's going to hold agricultural communities together if there's no young people, if all the young people are moving to urban centres? Rislan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeff. I think I love this question because it perfectly fit into one of the job we are leading at our center. So initially, when we started running this historically, about 6 years ago, while I was in my previous university as a deputy vice chancellor, I didn't do more of the heavy lifting. So I have a lot of team that does a lot of work for me because being at that position is more executive. So when I changed job, I moved to this current university. I found myself at the forefront of doing what I love doing, as I said earlier. And to be honest with you, people perceive us earlier as a digital or startup organization because we do more of digital agriculture and we didn't see really much impact of what we have been doing. Yeah, we have been collecting data about farmers, and I think I have to say this. I've been involved in digital agriculture in Nigeria for the last 17 years. Our team, among the first people consulted by the Federal Ministry of Agri to develop farmer database. And to my understanding, to my knowledge, we have access to up to 20 million farmers' data in Nigeria. And a lot has been done in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of economic inclusion, and even digital inclusion in terms of giving farmers ID number. If you look at the enrollment international ID in Nigeria, you could see progressive movement. And this happened because World Bank came on board to Nigeria and said, see, we observe you have over 100 million Nigerians that have no identity number. If I decide to change my name tomorrow, I will say my name is no longer Rislan, my name is Jeff, and it can happen because I don't have my thumbprint being captured in the national database. And automatically in Nigeria, if you don't have NIN number or mobile phone number verified, you cannot have bank account. And that entirely made most of the farmers, out of the digital inclusion or digital development. So a lot had happened. World Bank put around $100 million. As you see, for every farmer you add, or every villager, or every someone that is in the hard to reach area, you add into the database, we'll be able to give that person, to give you $1 incentive for doing that. So we leverage that network. We're able to give more farmers. More farmers now have identity. We know who they are. We now know they have bank accounts. We now know where they are farming because our center is going to the deep. We are working together with 7 major commodity growers in Nigeria. We're working with rice farmers, wheat farmers, maize farmers, cotton farmers, women in agribusiness, cereal farmers, vegetable farmer association of Nigeria, and even the Organic Farming Association. I had meeting just last week with the president of the organic farming in Nigeria. And the major assignment we need to do is to speed up digitalization of farmers' data. So I think, yes, digital technology supported farmers to have identity, supported farmers to be included in the digital value chain. But the key question here is, are we attracting more finance? Because now we have identity. Before we claim we don't have data, we cannot give unknown person credit, or we cannot give unknown person incentives. Now we have farmers data. Are we increasing the number of the incentives? I think that's one question. Number two is, how many farmers are now using these mobile devices to access climate information systems? Because earlier on, all of us acknowledged the weather, the water from the sun, I mean, from the sky, is not coming really much, is irregular, is not frequent. And I think we've also seen a lot. Most of us Africans, we believe in God. We've seen a lot, and I think God is angry with us. So he's not giving us, I think he's punishing us before we go to hell. I think that's one thing I keep saying to farmers. So water is irregular. We co-hosted a conference on climate information system. How do we engage youth into that? How many active satellite information systems we have in Nigeria or in Africa that farmers could get informed on what to produce, where to sell, and the rest of it. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Yes, digital development is everywhere, and I have to also acknowledge what World Bank said. I remember during my doctoral research in the UK in 2012, I read the World Development Report. World Bank acknowledged that yes, people in the rural area are now well connected. People have access to digital mobile phone, but development promise is still at a very threshold level. And I think World Bank acknowledged that 70% of the ICT interventions are failure. So if World Bank still acknowledge that their interventions are failure, who we are to say what we are doing is adding value. And I consistently follow up with the report. I read even the recent report of the World Development Report from the World Bank. It says, yes, people in rural Bhutan, in rural Rwanda, Nigeria are connected. They have access to mobile phone. They have social media, but the real development is at a very, very infancy level. So I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think that's why 2 years ago, we switched our attention, main focus into digitalization. So we focus on being sustainable practice. And that's why at our center, yes, we are very intensive. We're expert in digitalizing farmers' data. We have access to over 20 million farmers' data. But we are working with only about 68,000 farmers now, giving them deep interventions, training them on modern agri practice, training them on agroforestry, agroecology, nature credit beyond the carbon credit. Yes, we do carbon credit because we link farmers with access to digital irrigation, because we give farmers pump to pay as they use. It's a digital pump. From my dashboard, I can know, oh, farmer ABC, who is in XYZ, he's supposed to do irrigation today, but he's not doing the irrigation. My team can look at the remote sensing and say, oh, sorry, this farmer that applied to have a solar irrigation pump, we cannot give him because her farm has no access to available groundwater, or there is no surface water for her to use this. Oh, sorry, farmer ABCDE in XYZ, there is no sunlight. If you give this farmer pump, there will be no sunlight enough to do a proper, because you need to spend about 4 to 6 hours to do it. So a lot of work we are doing it. And again, also we need to make the produce more profitable. And I think that's one of our mandates. Our mandate at the center is, how do we support sustainable practice? You using less input, less resources, but still getting a good output because the farmers are poor. Number two, how do we use emerging technology, which I have already mentioned? Farmer information system, cloud computing, remote sensing and satellite observation, agroecology, and the rest. Then how do we make farmers to be more productive? That's the agro entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
how do
Sorry, just to interrupt there. I wanted to ask you the specific question then. Does your mandate also include increasing the food value, the nutritional value of the output of the farming, or just focus on productivity?
Absolutely, because we are promoting year-round farming.
Yeah.
We are giving farmers a water pump, which is powered by solar, so they have control over what they produce, and we're encouraging them to do 3 crop round. For example, we encourage them, yes, we have uptake. I think also something around policy. Most of the agri policy in Africa promote export because there is dollar crisis in most of the African countries. So the government incentives are targeted towards producing more, you know. And again, yes, there is a little work around producing rice and maize and whatever, but there is not much work has been done to see this being produced more. So we promote horticulture in our center, and we also promote agroforestry. We give a lot of farmers economic trees just to throw them within their farm, 7, 10, 15, 20 within an acre. That will give them mango, that will give them vegetables for them to use in their meal beyond just the usual carbohydrate. And we also encourage them to do hibiscus and sesame, and we are training them not just on the farming practice, but also on the food system. I've seen a lot of things in different parts of the world, how farmers are trained on how to use the best of their food and to have a well balanced and nutritious food and as well as things around ornamental plants as well as herbs and spicy, which are very essential in food. So we do a lot of work. We work together with an NGO that gave, I think, up to 50,000 seedlings of ornamental and spices, and we encourage farmers just put this across within your neighborhood or even under the trees in your farm. So a lot of work has really been ongoing on, but I think we need to be very, very intentional. And as I said, just 2 weeks ago, I was in London and I was part of the thematic session that looked about the data for food system for Africa. And we have all the stakeholders from AGRA, FCDO, FAO, name it. And for me, I approach it, see, it's not about lack of data. We have the data, but are we really making the use of the data? Do we even understand which data can inform what? And to wrap up my submission to you, Jeb, is I serve on the bank, one of the biggest bank in Africa, as an executive director. And one thing I see, the appetite for investing in agri is not there because we are unable to package good agricultural proposal. I was looking at the data for 2024. Only about 5% of funding made by finance institutions goes into agri in Africa, only about 5%. And when you have bulk of the young people and other group into agri. So, and also when we deep dive into the 5% data funded into agri, most of the funding goes into buying the grains or the crops from the farmer at an early age because the farmers are poor. You buy the grains from them today, maybe $10 per ton. And after 3 months, you bring back the same grain to them and they buy $50. That's what basically the funding does, just handling the supply chain at the same time, handling the intermediaries and also just for logistics, basically. But we're not funding the real production. And from our own analysis, which we did a consultancy recently for one of the government, we told them you spend a lot of money on mechanization, a lot of money on fat. I think that's what not the farmers want. Basically, the farmers want to have a more climate information system. Even if they are producing commodity, they need to be sure that they will have value for money. Like in this year's farming, Jeb, I have to be honest with you, farmers lost half of what they put into the farm, not even making profit because the market is saturated. Government import grants, government import commodity, even for processing. And I think this is what is happening in India. I do a lot of work around what Indian farmers are experiencing through, and most of the subsidies are tied to political cycle. The
In
government, most of
Pakistan,
the
in
Yes.
Pakistan too.
yeah, most of the government agri implement are tied to political campaign. We launched 1,000 tractors, but where are the tractors? I give you an example. I'm working with one of the state government together with the International Water Management Institute. We have a workshop coming up on the 24th. This third government procured 30,000 irrigation pumps, and the federal government donated 10,000. So combined about 40,000 pumps. So even if each pump is doing 1 hectare, you could cultivate up to 40,000, but the volume in terms of irrigation didn't increase. And I think that's why we're doing a mission visit together with the colleagues from International Food Policy Society to go and we acknowledge that we not acknowledge only that we have connectivity, people are connected, people have this, but are they really driving more value from this digital infrastructure? Thank you.
Okay, so the policy settings are not necessarily right to encourage the right outcomes in terms of both productivity, farmer financial viability, and nutritional value. We're not getting the policy settings right to encourage those three legs of the stool. I want to throw now to Jahan Zeb. Let's go to a farmer and hear your view of this, Jahan Zeb, from your experience in Pakistan, but also what you see elsewhere.
Yes, thank you very much, Jeff. Dr. Aziz was saying absolutely correct. Actually, in Pakistan, our agriculture is now in the process of transformation from old agriculture to the new and latest agriculture. We have three types of farmers here. One of the group is totally old-fashioned, and they are not going to compromise with the new developments or the value addition. They are just stuck on their old practices, old selection of crops and all that. Second generation is the generation from myself belong to. This is the generation which has got the knowledge, which has got the vision of the new crops, new visions, new needs and necessities. We are transforming, and we have adopted the new technologies, and we have developed our agriculture. And the third one is the generation Z. That is altogether a different generation from us. They want to make millions by investing hundreds. So in agriculture, this could not be possible. Agriculture is basically a huge and heavy cycle, and which can be rotated through the good policies, good financing. But this heavy cycle can get the movement in 2 or 3 years, and then a consistent policies for at least for the 10 years, they help the agriculture and they encourage the agriculture to grow more food or more crops. But this is really very tragic in our third world countries, that our policies are not subject to the crop or subject to the needs of the nation. Our policies are based upon the political moves of the previous one and the present one and the party coming in power in the future. Yes, unless an agriculturist is not in profit, he cannot give you good results. If agriculture is not in profit, then a farmer cannot stress himself for a good crop or a quality crop. In Pakistan, I give you an example. It's a very tragic example. The rate of the wheat was here about 100 rupees per 1 kilogram 2 years back. Last year, our crop starts harvesting on or about 15th of April every year. But the government last year imported 44 million tons of wheat from outside, from United States and some other countries. And that wheat reached Pakistan on 6th of March 2023 and then again in 24. So the result was that the rate of the wheat in local produce, that was dropped down to 40 rupees per kilogram as compared to the 100 rupees per kilogram. So by forced selling of those wheat grains on 35 to 40 rupees per kilogram, the farmer was ruined. The farmer was crushed, and he has nothing in his pocket. Even the expenses were not recovered. So can you think that in future that farmer will again invest in that crop, in a food grain, to produce quality fruit? No. He will change his mind. He will switch to another crop, which may be not a food grain. That maybe a cotton, that may be a sugar cane, that may be a vegetable, but that will not be a wheat. So again, Pakistan government does the same again in 2025, and in March the wheat was again imported, and then again the rate was dropped. So, so this is very tragic in Pakistan. You see, 10 years back in 2012 or 13, the cotton crop in Pakistan was 160,000 cotton bales of lint, and which has been dropped down to 4 million bales only now. Against 16 millions, we have now 4 millions only. And that is because of the non-profitability of that cotton crop here in Pakistan. While you have opened the import of cotton from China, India, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Egypt, then that imported cotton and that has been tax-free. There is no import duty. There is no anti-dumping duty. The result is that the rates in Pakistan have been dropped down considerably, and the Pakistani farmer is now disinterested in cotton. So yes, I think Professor Abdul Aziz is 100% right that we are not promoting our farmer. We are not funding our farmer to the extent he needs. So we have to change our mindset. We have to think that this farmer is the key role of our society, and whole of the society which is living is eating food which is grown by this farmer.
Great. Thanks very much, Jahan Zeb. So we've heard already that we're growing commodities, not food. That this is changing agricultural communities. That the policy settings are not right to encourage production, profitability, and nutritional value.
Yes.
And we haven't even focused on the environmental impacts of agriculture and whether we're managing those right. So that's the fourth leg. I would like to now turn to, well, what do we do about this? And come back to Lee. Lee, you've had a lot of experience working in agriculture extension, rural development, and project management, and a PhD in rural development. I wanted to come back to the question of where do we go from here, and particularly whether agroecology, increasing the focus on agroecology, might provide a pathway to rebalance agriculture towards food, nutrition, ecological sustainability, whilst maintaining profitability. Back to you, Lee, please.
Thanks, Jay. So in my mind, agroecology is one of the best way to recover our agriculture, because after a long time of we try to make a big production. In the Mekong Delta we have a big problem, many problems. So firstly, combined with the long-term over farming combined with the climate change, we have the farmer they face with many challenges. First of all, now we have like land decorations, because we go only the rice for a long time, so the land is like very full. So and the people, the farmer, they cannot get the high yield, and because they cannot get the high, they try to use more fertilizer. And also, when we use more fertilizer, we can also pattern using. So that's like a cycle. That's make the cost for production increase very quickly. And the farmer now they lose their income. So besides that, we also have the problem with the environment, like we have the water pollution because we use a lot of the chemical in the field, and the 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 the, the fish or even the aqua population is low in the river. So the farmer they also lose a lot of the because like in the past in the rainy season the farmer they can catch fish for their consumption and also for sale. But now it's very few fish in the river and in their canal also. So the farmer they also recognize the problem, and for the government also for the extension center we also recognize that problem, and we try to transfer from the model crop now to more like diversity crop and like to make more diversity in the farm. So we try to balance the ecosystem now. So in some case, we try to encourage farmers to change from a model crop like 2 or 3 dry crop per year to just one crop, like one dry crop, one vegetable, or one dry crop, one fish. So to make the ecological balance. And I think that's a good way we try to do now. So in some farm, in my observation, when we combine one fish and rice rotation, it means one rice per year and one fish production per year. So the environment become better. The soil quality become richer, and the fish they have more fish compared with the other. So when we make, I think in nature everything can be balanced and support together. Like when we can go fish in the dry field, the fish can manage insects. So and it keep to the right go better. And again with the insect, and we don't use that make the farmer they don't use the pesticide, and they can like reduce their food cost, and also it's good for environment. That's the way we balance the environment and also keep the agriculture more sustainable in the future. But it's not easy now. It's not easy to change the farmer too. So because for a long time they just try to make try to make the production much production good for them. So when we try to have the farmer to transfer their thinking from the production to the quality of the product. So and we do a lot of training course to teach the farmer how to grow the ecological rice or how to grow the organic rice in their farm. So step by step, we do a lot of activity. We also invite farmer for the farm field visit. We do some model that's use the organic technique. Or we also use the low emission technique like wet and dry farming in dry field. And we make some good model for the farmer. They can visit, they can study from this model, and after that they can come back and can learn from that model and try to apply in the farm. But I think we need more time and we need more investment to train the farmer thinking. But that's only the way we do for the sustainable agriculture production in the future. If we don't change the farmer, maybe in the future we can go anything because of the environment now very like affected by the production for a long time. Yes.
Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you. Violetta, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just realized there's only a few minutes left, but I just wanted to check with Professor Lee. I had the privilege to witness the transformation of Kaba Island from a very sort of polluted island into eco-farming, center of eco-farming, or the beginning of eco-farming in Vietnam. That's been about 15 years ago, if I recall correctly. So I was wondering how did that project evolve, and was that a good case study that you were able then to replicate throughout the country?
Yes, we are the case study now we apply because in 2020 the Mekong Delta faced the big drought, and at this time that affect a lot of the rice production in the area. That's raised the awareness of the farmer how to adapt with climate change. So in the past, like they just only do two crop or three crop per year. They don't want to change, but because of the effect of the climate change drought in 2022, they have to change it. And they move from like two crop per year to three crop per year to just one crop and one fish production. And in the first time, we just do some model, and now I still do one a case study in the with the speak on how that can come new. We have a farmer who come to work with us for 2 years for the model. So he transferred the three rice crop from 3 rice crop per year to 2 rice crop and 1 fish production. So in rainy season, he only grow fish, and for the dry season he grow rice. So for when he do the rotation, we see that it's good for his farm because he don't do trees rotation. He don't no money to pump the water because in rainy season a lot of water. But if he wants to do right, he have to pump a lot of water. So he stop go right in this season, and he just grow fish for their farming. And after that, when the dry season coming, he grow rice. And because he less some time for the land be free, so the land can recover. And also the fish can the manure from the fish can also have the soil healthy, and the good quality soil for the next season. So when he compared with the past 2-3 rice crop season, he gets a better result. He can get the money from the fish, also get the money from rice, and the next season he don't spend a lot of money for the fertilizer, and the cost for inputs is lower compared with the developed season. Yes.
Thank you, Lee. We're going to have to wrap this up. I saw, Rislan, your suggestion we should take this beyond the hour, but unfortunately we have colleagues that are waiting to talk about another important subject. So we're not going to be able to do that. But Violetta has proposed in the chat actually converting this to not a 1 hour chat, but a 1 year chat about this subject. And I think we could pretty much fill that up over a year as well. But I would like to just offer Rislan and Malik as well, just a 30-second last comment, and then one back to you as well, Lee. 30 seconds only, please. Rislan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, as I said, we need to do more. We need to talk more. A lot of money is being spent by most of us at the institutional level. I think, as I said in the chat, we need to create opportunity to share data, share information, share knowledge, share best practice. More of a showcase. It's not a show, but it's very important we do this. I know the impact, Jeff, you created by linking us with Richard from VIA. And within the last 1 year, a lot is really happening. So I think we need to do more together. I think that's just my thought. We need to create a meaningful project. And most of these projects, we don't even require money. We just need information and knowledge sharing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jahan Zeb, 30-second final comment.
No, yes. Sir, in my opinion, there should be a balance between agriculture crops. If the balance between the agriculture produce is not maintained, then all the time there will be a shortage of one crop and the hype of the second crop. We need to maintain an equilibrium between the various crops and the livestock too. For this purpose, we have to make all the crops profitable for the farmer, and we should finance and assist the farmer according to the requirement of each and every crop. We should not go in a hassle or a basil, or we should not go in a hurry against one crop. We should make the balance between all the crops.
Thank you. Lee, final comment.
Yes. So intensive production cause many problems, not only for the production, also create many problems of the climate change. So we was change, and our ecology is I think is the best way to changing farmer to make a more sustainable production in the future. And we need a platform or like a community that support for the agroecology to make a sustainable agriculture in the future.
Okay, thank you so much, all of you, for your comments. Thank you for everybody for your participation. In answer to the question, are we growing commodity food or commodities? I think the resounding answer is we're growing commodities largely, and we need to rebalance that. Thanks very much, Violetta. Back to you and admin.
Back to you, Tim. Thank you very much to everyone. We will continue. We shall continue this topic.